Hi everyone! Today I'm going to share the Q&A of Open Study Room. If you are interested in OSR, please check the description below. When there is Chinese opening, we can often expect this sequence, right? You've seen this move. If black answers like this, white can play like this. At this moment, Shibano Toramaru 9dan said that white can play here and take the group in the bottom right side lightly. The question is that true? And then, why is that? Yes, these four stones are very light. Before we begin, I want to talk about the blokus. This is a board game that I think the most similar to Go. In blokus, the winner is a person who takes larger spaces. This is the ending moment of both games. Don't they look similar? Go is very similar to blokus. If we apply the Chinese rule, it becomes more similar because Chinese rule adds up the living stones and territory on the board. Blokus is very intuitive, so it's not difficult even for first players. Then why Go is much more difficult even the final goal and final shape is similar? I think one of the biggest reasons of that is in blokus, there is no issue of life and death of stones. When we start learning Go, we first practice how to capture the opponent's stones, right? But as we get stronger, capturing stones become less important. The higher the level, we must learn how to sacrifice stones. We have to get out of the idea that we have to save our stones or we have to capture the opponent's stones. We just have to focus on getting our stones to occupy more area on the board. From now on, I ask you to take the stone as just a blokus piece, okay? Not my property or something precious to protect. Stone is just a stone. They are not our kids, you know. Alright, let's go back to the board. I will simply look at the board as I'd look at the blokus game, okay? If I take a look at the board very simply, very intuitively, I can say this area is likely to be white's area, right? And conversely, this area is likely to be black's area, right? Then which is bigger? I think both are similar, right? Then now we can think like this is very small, right? This is not our kids. This is not our money, you know. This we can just sacrifice. We can just throw it away. Yeah, that's why white can jump here. If black plays here, then white can just block and let black cut here. Then there is this move. Yeah, this is amazing actually. If black plays here, then white can attack it from this side. Yeah, then you see white stones are connected. So actually black cannot capture these first stones easily. If black blocks here, then white can just change his body. This looks very nice, right? So yeah, white can play like this. Now I think you guys can agree that these first stones are very small. If black plays here, then white can just play lightly. You see, now cut this point is just big end game. Now we can consider this game as a blokus. Then this area is white's territory, then this area is not that big, right? Black have here, but white can cover these three parts with this big moyo. Okay, that's why we can take the first tones very lightly. Let's suppose with this move, white plays here and tries to save these first tones. Then black can jump here. Now, as you see, this group is not perfect yet, so white needs one more stone. Then black can tenuki. How do you think about this result? If we compare this diagram to the previous diagram, white just saved these first ones, but the owner of this place changed it, right? Now, in the future, the center is likely to be black's area, right? So if we think about this ending position, we need to have more influence in more territories. So we can say occupying the center is more bigger than saving or capturing these first turns, right? That's why at this moment, jumping here is good enough. White doesn't have to worry about these first turns, okay? Actually, it is very difficult to decide whether this is the situation or not. We can take the stones lightly. So I tried to make it simple in three cases. The first one is when the stones are done their part, we can take the stones very lightly. And the second one is when there are a lot of opponents' stones around, we can take our stone lightly. In this situation, we should run fast. The third one is when the stone has nothing to do with the survival issue, then saving the stones is just end game. Does it make sense? In this case, we can think that these four stones are done with their parts. Now that these four stones are done with their parts, we can jump like this and jump to the center. This is other example. This is white's turn. Where would you play? I will give you several options. A, B, C. Where would you play? You are white. This is the problem of whether we can take these two stones lightly or not. The worst answer is connecting here. This was not in the options. The right answer is over here. We can take these two stones lightly. If black plays here, then white can just throw these two stones away. White can play like this. Because as you see now, this area is much bigger than this, right? As you see, in the end of the game, occupying bigger areas is the only thing important, okay? This is the reason why we shouldn't be obsessed with stones. From this point of view, it is not important whether there were stones here or not, right? This was the best. And how about this? If white plays here, white can save these two stones, right? But if black plays here, then as you see, even if white saves these stones, but this big area became black's territory. What about this move? If white plays here, then black can block the right side with this move. Then if the sequence goes like this, black could cover the right side, then this is good for black. So that's why in this case, white should jump this much and take these 2 stones lightly. If we apply this case to what I mentioned just before, we can think these 2 stones are done their part, so we can take these 2 stones lightly. And number 2 is also related to this case, because in this case, white stones are surrounded by many of black stone, right? So in this case, white take white stones lightly and white have to run fast. So this is slow and this is also slow. This is the right speed. Alright, let's move to the next example. This is the board position that white played 2 space low pincer, but white answered like this. The right move is white should have played here, but white played here, so black can punish this move by playing here. Yeah, if black plays here, then white should connect underneath, then the sequence goes like this. In this case, this is a very good move. This can make white stones over concentrated. So at this moment, my question is, where would you play if you were black? I'll give you several options: A, B, or C. Think about the number 1 case. Now these all stones are done with their parts, so we can take these all black stones lightly. So the answer is here. This and this are very similar. It is not that big. When black plays here, if white panukis, then this is not that big, you know. Black can play here one more time. Then even if white plays there continuously, we can check. White has only this area, right? But what about black? Black has this area and this area and here and here. We can count. White has only three points, but black has a lot more, right? So that's why we don't have to be obsessed with stones. Alright, this is the last example of today. This is a joseki of 1 space low pincer. Yeah, I will show you the sequence. I dealt with this joseki in the previous video. If black plays like this, then I told you guys black can tenuki. And what was the reason? Because these 3 stones are done with their parts, so we can take these 3 stones lightly. If white plays here, then black can tenuki. As you see, white has played only this area, but black has this area and this. That means later this area and this area is likely to be black's area because there is no white stones. So when the stones are done with their parts, we can take the stones lightly. Of course, in this case, if black plays here, in this case, this move is not only to save black stones, but also to expand black's territory. So it could be more variable. So actually, in this board position, black can play here. But if I change the board position like this, then as you see, this is not that variable. At this moment, this move is only saving these 3 stones, so this is not that variable. So in this case, playing away is the only choice, okay? I know it's really hard to judge when to take a stone lightly. Then think about what I mentioned today. If the stones are done with their parts, we can take the stones lightly and sacrifice them. Or if we are surrounded by many of the opponent's stones, then we can take our stones lightly and run fast. Okay? And one more thing, think about whether you are just trying to save your stone out of habit. Let's remember stone is just stone, not our variable. Let's focus on only one thing. We should occupy as large an area as possible on the board. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!